I'm going to start with giving out tips, and I love your feedback and to hear from you about questions or whatever it is that you do that works with your kids in getting them to eat better, try new things, and just overall ways of having kids have a positive relationship with food. I think that's so important and eventually helps with having less of a struggle around mealtime and snack time. All of that being said, it's super hard. It's not easy at all. And I don't always do it right. I don't always do exactly what I wish I did or say exactly what I wish I said. And that's okay too. So we're all kind of learning here and doing what we can. But I wanted to give you guys a little bit of information on ways to answer questions, ways of talking to kids about foods and things like that. And then we're going to pop in and make a fancy St. Patrick's Day smoothie that me and my little ones have tested out a few times. So the first thing I wanted to start with is getting kids involved in every aspect of food and the kitchen and all that good stuff is how we get them interested in food and then eventually trying it. So that, and this sounds like a lot, right? But that means shopping with them. That means prepping, food prep with them. That means cleaning the food, the produce, the veg, whatever it is that you're working on. It means shopping with them. The idea of taking toddlers shopping might not sound fun to everybody. It doesn't always sound fun to me either. But my kids insist on coming with me all the time. And so I've done quite a bit of research on ways of handling situations in the food shop, in the food store. And then I've also tried different things in the store. And so while shopping with kids, I don't know if anybody else's children will say, well, they'll see the like super colorful yogurts is a big one for my daughter. She'll see like the Elsa yogurts that I generally don't buy. Just because of the sugar content, of the food additive content and things like that. But my daughter will always, always, always point them out. So if I cannot simply avoid that aisle and that section, which is a number one choice, but if I can't avoid that section of the grocery store, my go-to question is when she comments on it, I'll just say, oh, do we need that? And so often she'll just be like, no. And I'll just keep moving. And as I'm saying it, I'm walking with the carriage. And she just kind of goes with it. Not always. Sometimes she'll be like, yes, we absolutely need that. And I'll just be like, you know what? Maybe next time we can get that. We already have yogurts at home. And that will also sometimes help her to keep moving. A lot of times, if she does insist on the colorful Elsa yogurt or cookies or whatever else she really feels like having, I'll say, okay, let's finish our shopping trip. Let's get everything we came here to get. And then if we still want it at the end, we can come back for it. 9 out of 10 times, she forgets about it. We don't go back for it. But then there's also the occasional time that I say, okay, let's grab it. So I'm not always saying no to something that she asks for. Because you know what? We do want our kids to taste things and try new things. So if we're constantly saying no to what they want, are they always going to try what we want them to try? Is another way to look at it. So that's how I tackle that sometimes. I have notes here. That's what I'm looking at here. I will always try to validate and be like, oh my gosh, is that Elsa? That's so cool. Again, as I keep walking. And then I point out something on the other end of the aisle, or I'll be like, oh my gosh, I forget what we came here for. Do you remember what we came here for? And I'll kind of make it like she's helping me. And I just get rid of that idea out of her head when I can. A big one that I've learned from is I could never say, or we should never say, if you ask one more time, we're leaving without buying anything, unless you mean it. I meant it one time, I did it one time, and I've never had to do it again. But I would really try not to make that threat and then not follow through, because they'll remember it from next time. But all right, so that's food shopping and things like that. Now, when you get home with food, have them help you wash the berries and put it away. They can pick the spot where it goes in the fridge. Help them prep for dinner. If they're old enough, cutting peppers, or even just like snapping peppers or pea pods or whatever it might be. My kids are big on like, while I'm putting things away, can I taste this? Can I taste that? Yes, taste it, especially when they're asking to taste it. Even if that means one of the new cookies that we got with all of the fruit. So my kids are putting things away with me, and they're like tasting the strawberries. They're licking strawberries, putting them back. And then they also want to taste the cookie that we just bought. And I'm like, yeah, of course. I'm not going to identify that cookie as not as good for them as the fruit. Because as soon as we identify that cookie or that sugary yogurt as something that mom and dad don't necessarily want them to have, they want it more. So I'm all about tasting. I'm all about, that sort of thing. Another big thing in our house is don't yuck my yum or somebody else's yum. I try really, really hard not to say yuck to foods, whether I like them or not. My husband's not a big fan of fruit and veggies, but I insist that he at least tries it when the kids ask him to try it, and then he has to pretend that he likes it. Okay, so that's a big one. I try to never say yuck in front of the kids, even if it's, I don't even know, dipping chicken nuggets in weird things, which we do all the time here in this house. Okay. Oh, I also, something that we try really hard to do is, I don't have good foods and bad foods. All foods are foods. All foods give energy. Some foods are everyday foods. Some foods are sometimes foods. And that's how I've kind of gotten away from saying, oh, that's bad for us, or that's not good for us, or I don't even say that's not healthy, because we don't know who other people's stance on other foods, so we don't want our kids to see, oh, well, this friend at school is eating Oreos, and Oreos are bad for you. I would never want my kid to shame another kid for eating whatever they're eating. And like, heck yeah, in my house, we have Oreos sometimes. So I never want my kids to think a food is bad. Again, there are everyday foods and there are sometimes foods. And those are like really staple statements in our house, in our family. Another thing that I do, I try to do, this is not as easy. I never say like, oh, eat your dinner and then we can have dessert after. Because what is that? That makes dessert like, oh my gosh, I must want dessert if I have to eat this first. So that's a big one. I always just say, well, is your belly full? And they say yes. And I say, okay, let's move on to an activity or something. I try not to do a meal followed immediately by a dessert or like ice cream or something like that, because I want them to learn how to identify their belly being full or how that feels. Is it working when I ask them, is your belly full? Do they actually mean their belly is full? I'm not sure. They're 4 and they're 2, but we're trying. We're putting this language out there and hoping that it sticks. And they eventually learn what their belly being full feels like and means. Because I don't want to be a family where you have to finish your plate or whatever it is, because that's not listening to their bodies. And in the future, I hope that everybody can learn to listen to their own hunger cues and full cues or whatever it might be. Something else, what else do I do? Oh, whenever I'm serving foods, I try to do a variety of colors, different things like that. Oh, and I try to serve foods in a fun way. Oh, I forgot to grab what I have. Okay, so I always try to serve things in like these fun little silicone cups. I have a bunch of different colors, a bunch of different shapes. They're just kind of fun and playful and easy to eat out of. I also have these sweet little like picks and forks and things like that help with little toddler hands. And we talk about, oh, does this bunny like whatever we're eating? And what's Bunny's name? And we kind of play as we eat. I know that when we were kids, we were taught not to play with our food, but I'm a huge proponent of playing with our food. It gets kids feeling texture, feeling temperature, and being more comfortable around it. I also have these fun for my boy, excavator spoons and things like that. So we really try to like pull out all the stops. I think I actually also have like this fun plate for him, right? So we really try our best to like make eating fun as we can. Okay. So another thing that we do is I actually made, and I'm not telling anybody else to make this because my kids have not eaten them since the first time. I made homemade chicken nuggets because I was like, oh, I have a little extra time this weekend. I've always wanted to try it. They're absolutely delicious. If you want the recipe, message me or put it in the comments on the Thrive Facebook group and I can send you a recipe for it. But so I cooked them up. Then I gave each kid 5 different dips. And for me, some of the dips were not a choice that I would ever have. But I gave them soy sauce as a dip. I gave them honey as a dip. I gave them mustard. I gave them ketchup. And then I think the other one, maybe like maple syrup or something. I don't know, like whatever random dips I had in my fridge. I said, oh my gosh, let's do taste tests. And they were like, these are so good. They loved it. We asked, which dip is your favorite? What is your favorite? They ate them all. I use a lot of dips in this house to get the kids to eat different things and whatnot. So another thing to always think about is texture. You know, kids don't necessarily like the way something feels in their mouth. So getting them to play with their food might help them eventually be comfortable with the way it feels in their mouth. Temperature. My kids would never eat spinach, just like straight spinach, unless I froze it. I give them frozen spinach leaves. They'll eat them like chips. It's insane and so strange. But the different texture and the different temperature engages them and interests them, and they're all about it. So that's another something to try. So those are tips that I have. I'm going to start our smoothie now. And if you guys have other comments, other things that worked for you, throw them in the comment section. I'm going to see if I can change my format here so I can see comments that come in. But give me your comments, and I think I can make this smaller. And while you're throwing comments in, I'm going to move to smoothies. Smoothies are such a fantastic way to get kids in the kitchen, get kids making their own food, and you can jam pack them with nutrition and nutrients. So I'm going to make a St. Patrick's Day green smoothie. All of our family smoothies have spinach in them because you cannot taste spinach when it is in smoothies. My kids they just know that our smoothies have spinach in them. They don't question it. They love it. So today we're going to try some frozen spinach. Okay. I got some frozen spinach. So we are making a St. Patrick's Day smoothie. The first thing that I'm going to put in it, here's my blender, team, moms. If anybody has other tips too, throw them in for smoothie making. We are starting with washed already mint leaves. Okay, we're throwing some mint leaves in here. Okay, I got it at Trader Joe's. Mint is fresh. If you are starting a garden this year, mint is the easiest thing in the world to grow, and it's so refreshing. I always try to have that on hand, but it will take over a garden. So grow it like away from the garden on the other side of your garden. The reason I'm using frozen spinach is 2 reasons. I want this smoothie to be cold, and this is kind of like my ice replacement. You can always throw ice in it also, but I'm going to try to see if it gets cold enough with frozen spinach. And also, I can never eat spinach fast enough for it to not go bad. So I always will buy a bag of spinach at the grocery store and throw half of that bag of spinach in the freezer automatically. Simply because it's just going to go bad if I don't do that. So we got mint, we got spinach. This is my new kind of ingredient for the day. Can't even know what I'm talking about. That's right. The dates, the pitted medjool dates. Okay, I've never tried them before this weekend when I tested this recipe out. I bought these at Trader Joe's. They come like this in a freezer section. And they look like this. They're already pitted. If you're buying dates, make sure that they're pitted. Okay, unless you're pitting them yourself, totally fine. Okay, so I'm just gonna I'm gonna cut these in half just because this blender is like old and I want to make sure that it can really like break these bad boys up. These are delicious. I'm throwing 2 I'm going to put like 5 in there because I don't know if you've had dates like this before. They're like candy, and I'm not sweetening this smoothie with anything else except for dates. So I'm loading it up with 5 dates. The other thing I always try, yes, Lauren, that is a running joke with us also. So don't be afraid to buy a bag of spinach, moms. Throw half of it in the freezer immediately, though, because it will just go bad unless you're perfect, like other people. All right, the other thing I'm going to throw in this spinach, first of all, I'm all about when I can getting all 5 food groups into my smoothies for the kids and for myself. All 5 food groups I feel so well balanced, and it'll keep you full longer and it'll keep them full longer. Okay, because while smoothies are fantastic, they're fast energy because they're already broken up, right? It's already blended up. Your body doesn't have to do much breaking down and digesting, so your body can use this energy immediately, but it just might not last as long as like eating something unblended, right? So I always try to make sure there's fat, protein, and whole grains in my smoothies when I can. Okay, I am throwing in this Icelandic style skyr yogurt. I had to look up how to pronounce that, folks. And the reason, I don't know if you've seen this in the stores or heard about it, the reason that this Icelandic style yogurt is becoming super popular is because it is naturally lower in sugar, and it's naturally higher in protein than even Greek yogurt. So Greek yogurt hit the market, and everybody's like, oh, there's extra protein in it. Well, this yogurt is even more. It's like so high in protein, and it's great. So like this container, 15 grams of protein and only 5 added grams of sugar, which is something that I really try to focus on, is the amount of sugar I'm putting in smoothies and offering up to my family. I don't do no sugar because that's just simply impossible. But this is just an interesting or a good new food to try. All right, I'm gonna throw some raw oats. Just throw it right in there. Okay, I'm gonna do half a banana because nobody's home, and this is just a smoothie for me. If I was making it for both of the kids, they would insist on a full banana in there. I think I got all my ingredients. Now I just need my coconut milk. I should have got this stuff out first, but that's okay. I'm right here. And yeah, so let's see how this smoothie tastes. It's going to be green. It hopefully is absolutely delicious. I'm just gonna eyeball this. I don't usually measure things. And I'm gonna go like this. And so something my family does when we are making smoothies, which is very frequently, we make them, I would say, at least once a week. The kids have a dance party while the smoothie is blending. We started it when my daughter was like 1.5, because it's loud and they're like, oh. So we're like, oh, it's dance party time. So me and my son made smoothies early this morning, and he goes, let's dance party, Mom. And I was like, let's do it, kid. All right, so we are going to do this. Oops, let's see if I can get it in there. We're going to turn this on real quick. It's going to be loud for just a second. Actually, I'm not even going to blend it. I'm going to tell you how it is in the comments after this because I still want to talk. Once that's blended, I'm going to pour it in a cute little mason jar, and I'm going to drizzle some chocolate chips on top of it. And that is a very sweet, naturally sweetened St. Patrick's Day green mint smoothie. If you're not a big fan of mint, another recipe that I love that is also green, I do my spinach, I do almond milk or coconut milk, whatever it is, oats, cinnamon, banana, and peanut butter. I'm a huge peanut butter person. So if you don't have allergies in your house, if you put peanut butter in a spinach smoothie, you will not taste the spinach. You will straight taste the peanut butter and banana. It'll be delicious. So that is that for today.